In the NBA, there are two types of players. First, the necessary good. These are the clean-cut players that you just can't help but like and root for. Players like 7'4" Boban Marjanovic playing keep away with AD, or Derrick Rose after he scored 50 points on the Timberwolves, coming back to his MVP shape years after his devastating knee injuries. But there's another type of player in the NBA, the necessary evil, or as I like to call it, players with black Air Force energy, which Urban Dictionary defines as someone who is crazy, someone who doesn't care about himself or anyone else, someone you should not mess with. These are the type of players that will talk trash to you all game. Players that will be a pest, get in your face, make you have boiling rage, and they may even start a few fights. These are the players like Ron Artest, now known as Meta World Peace. Famously known for his temper, Ron Artest was a menace to society on the court, with teammates and referees having to hold him back from fights almost every game. But one game in particular, they were not able to stop him. On November 19th, 2004, the Indiana Pacers played the defending champion Detroit Pistons at their home stadium called the Palace. With the Pacers leading 97-82 and only 45.9 seconds left in the game, Ben Wallace attempted a layup but was fouled hard from behind by none other than Ron Artest. A fight broke out on the court between a few players but was broken up pretty quickly. After that was over, Artest was lying on the scorer's table waiting for the refs to figure out the fouls when a fan hit him with a beer can thrown from several rows up in the stands, and everything after would go wrong. Artest immediately charged into the crowd and grabbed the fan who he thought threw the drink, but he grabbed the wrong man. Fans all around him started to grab, push, and fight Artest while he tried to fight back. Think about it for just 1 second. Do you know how scary it would be to have Ron Artest coming at you swinging? I would have had to send up a prayer to God because I do not know how I would live through that fight. Several Pacer teammates followed Artest too, notably with Steven Jackson connecting a huge punch on this fan, and the incident escalated into a large brawl that spread from the stands to the court and involved fans and players from both teams. This fight is now known as the Malice at the Palace, and it's the worst fight in NBA history. And it's in large part because Ron Artest was first committing a dirty foul on Ben Wallace, and then he charged into the stands after getting hit by a drink. Artest would get suspended for 86 games, 73 regular season and 13 postseason games. Years later, in 2011, Artest decided to change his name to Meta World Peace because that name was, quote, kind of dope. Meta, a Buddhist word, means friendship, love, and kindness, as Artest was trying to change his reputation. But there would be no kindness anytime soon. The literal year after he changed his name to Meta World Peace, he would again commit one of the most violent acts I've ever seen in a basketball game. In the 2012 NBA playoffs, the Lakers were fiercely battling the young Oklahoma City Thunder in a tight matchup, and Ron's emotions once again boiled up. He went in for a contested dunk and hit a big-time play, and then after, James Harden bumped into him, and Mr. World Peace elbowed James Harden into oblivion. If he did this to someone random on the street, that would be literal jail time. Even though he wasn't looking directly at Harden, the massive windup and full connection of this elbow to Harden's head was no coincidence. But even with all of this, Meta World Peace was far from the only one with some black Air Force energy in the league. Just last offseason, Draymond Green punched the absolute life out of Jordan Poole, and recently we were lucky enough to learn what made this happen in the first place. It was reported that in the Golden State Warriors practice that was taking place, Poole was talking some trash to Draymond and said, "You're an expensive backpack for 30. Obviously, with this expensive backpack comment, you immediately think of Steph Curry. He's saying that Draymond is just being carried by Steph. Poole could have also been referring to the fact that Draymond is making just a bit under $30 million a year just to get carried, once again, by Curry. Whatever he meant, he got some immediate karma. Draymond has known to have a temper even with some teammates. When Kevin Durant was on the Warriors, Draymond was a huge factor in why KD decided to join the Brooklyn Nets and leave the Warriors. Green reportedly told Kevin Durant to his face, "We don't need you. We won without you. Leave." And Draymond and KD's relationship never recovered while they were on the Warriors. Over his career, Draymond Green has 163 technical fouls, 19 flagrant fouls, 17 ejections, and he's paid roughly $1.4 million in fines. This man must love the movie The Nutcracker because he has some dirty plays going for dudes' groins. Steven Adams, I can feel this one, and I am so sorry for you. For being once known as a great defender too, Draymond has a tendency to pull people down while jumping midair, which is a huge liability and a way that many players have gotten seriously injured in the past. Draymond is also probably the only player that's been able to connect a flying knee into the player's ribs like he did to Austin Rivers here too. This is not WWE, Draymond. That's not okay. And the most recent dirty play by Draymond was just in the 2023 playoffs in the Warriors series against the Kings, where Draymond would literally stomp on Sabonis' chest with a full windup. He was trying to do some damage. And the only thing that he's really damaging is his legacy. But one man, even more than Draymond, even more than Ron Artest, had a legacy for being one of the dirtiest players to ever set foot in the league. And his name is Bruce Bowen. Even as a 3-time NBA champion, Bruce Bowen was only known for being an absolute threat on the court, not to score the ball, but to injure the entire opposing team's roster. He was the original Black Air Force Energy ambassador. If you thought Draymond's flying knee to the ribs was bad, how about Bruce Bowen's flying kick to the head? Or maybe just a push to Ray Allen's back in the middle of a jump. How about maybe cracking Carmelo Anthony's jaw while driving to the hoop, while the foul didn't even get called? If you're watching some of Bruce Bowen's lockdown defense that's earned him 5 first-team all-defense selections, you'll see one of the staples of it is running under a player when they come down from their shot attempts to purposely injure that player. Bowen places his foot underneath the jumping player, and as the player comes down, they land on his foot, causing the player's ankle to roll. Bruce Bowen would struggle if he had to play in today's NBA, where a shooter's landing space is actually protected. The amount of flagrant fouls he would have would be insane, because this dude plays like an old man at the YMCA that has given up all hope and does not care. Bruce's dirty plays overshadow his defense, which actually was good, but after so many years of purposely trying to injure opposing players, he's gained some enemies on and off the court in that process. But similar to Bruce, Rasheed Wallace has gained some enemies as well. Here, you can see a graph of the players that have the most career ejections in NBA history. At the bottom of the list, we have Reggie Miller, Dennis Rodman, and Kenyon Martin with 12 ejections. Moving up, we have Matt Barnes with 13, and DeMarcus Cousins and Shaq with 14 ejections. Getting up there, we have Charles Barkley and Anthony Mason with a crazy 16 ejections, only to be topped by Draymond Green and Dwight Howard with 17 ejections. The most in NBA history. Well, until you take into account Rasheed Wallace. Over his career, he was able to manage to rack up 29 ejections, setting a record that could really stand the test of time. Rasheed is a connoisseur of the ejection and also has mastered the technique of the technical foul. He set the NBA record in a single season for the most technical fouls with 41 during his 2000 to 2001 campaign with the Portland Trail Blazers. Wallace played 79 games over that season, meaning that over half of the games that he played in, he was getting a tech. Was everything okay at home, man? Because 41 techs is crazy. He was known for having a bad reputation with the referees too. He's gotten ejected from an NBA game once for only staring at a referee. Another time, he's gotten ejected for just yelling, "Ball don't lie," after a missed free throw by the other team.
Started doing bad habits on the floor.
Yes, this actually happened. Rasheed was also on the Detroit Pistons when the Malice at the Palace took place, and he was one of the players that went up to the stands with the fans, but he said that it was more for the fans' protection, because if Ron Artest and Steven Jackson really got their hands on the fans like they wanted to, they'd be paying for it still today. And that is just about as much Black Air Force energy as I can take in one sitting. If you guys enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate a subscribe. If you don't want to, that's fine. I don't even care. Yes, I do. Please subscribe.